A Redemption Story. Chapter 1. It was a cool, sunny November morning and a typical school day. I took as many notes as possible to prepare for an algebra test. During the algebra class, I hardly had any focus at all. I couldn't concentrate because a couple of girls behind me, their names are Jada and Kara, threw spitballs at the back of my head. They're giggling behind my back. "What's the big deal?" I grumbled. The girls were still giggling. I didn't know why they had been giggling, but had been going on since my first day at Hartwell Academy. "Can you please leave me alone?" I asked. "I'm asking you nicely. I'm trying to prepare for a test, and you're disrupting my study time with your giggling and laughing." The situation was only worse. The giggles turned into laughter. After a brief moment, Miss Stonefield, my algebra teacher, silenced the class. She dropped her hands on the table. "Silence!" she yelled. "Can't you see you're just wasting everyone's time practicing for a unit test, which is worth most of your grade? Every second is precious, so let's not waste any time. I don't want to hear any noise from everyone's mouth, not even a giggle or a whisper." There wasn't any noise after that. Finally, I was able to complete my notes in peace. 10 minutes later, the bell rang. I grabbed all my belongings and ran out of the classroom. Civilization! I couldn't stand those girls giggling behind my back. When I walked to my next class, they were beside their lockers, talking to their friends. And I know they were talking about me because they pointed at me. I ignored them and walked to my next class because it wasn't my business. Let's see how the next class turns out. Chapter 2. Band, my next class wasn't as bad as last period. There wasn't any conflict. But Joy World Relations, my fourth period class, was horrible. More people looking at me and giggling at me. I don't know what's the big deal with everyone giggling about me. It's finally lunchtime. I love this class, although it isn't technically a class, because I get to sit all by myself with no one to bother me. But I hated it today. I was getting my lunch from the cafeteria when I tripped over something, and the food from my tray was flying in the air. I realized that Jada was in front of me, so I assumed that she held her foot out purposely so I could fall and embarrass myself. Every student in the cafeteria was staring at me, and after a few seconds, the entire cafeteria erupted in laughter. My cheeks turned beet red, and tears started to roll down my cheeks. I just humiliated myself in front of so many people in the cafeteria. So I got up, cleaned up my mess, and ran to somewhere where no one was around. I really want to get away from people for a while. I ran into a corner at the front of the school, and I started crying. Why have I been going through this for so long? Why am I always targeted by so many people? I thought to myself as hard tears dripped down the floor. This was supposed to be a great experience, but it turns out it was worse than back on planet Earth. My cries turned to sobs. I felt some sort of power sucking me. And then I was floating and was pulled into a dark tunnel. I cried, "Help! Somebody help!" But of course, no one heard my cry. The tunnel took me somewhere that I didn't know about at all. Chapter 3. I was asleep for a few minutes until a thunderclap woke me up. I looked around and realized that I was in a different place. The room was dark and it looked old. A broken chandelier was hanging on the ceiling, and a shattered picture frame of an old woman. It felt like I was in a horror movie. I looked at myself and noticed that all my colors were gone. I also realized that my hands were tied up to a wooden chair. I tried to get myself out, but the rope was tied tightly that I wasn't able to. So the only thing I could do was cry for help. "Help! Help! Somebody get me out of here!" I yelled. "Does anybody in here by any chance know where I'm at?" There wasn't any response, which made me nervous. It was quiet for a while, but I heard someone. "Welcome to Shade World, home of the defeated Heartlings," an old woman said. When a Heartling loses confidence in themselves or loses their self-esteem, their Heartling energy wears out. They are sent here and they become a part of my army of Shadies. And there is no way out. She cackles. I'm not usually afraid of big things, but I was afraid of this big thing. Sweat trickled from every part of my body, and hot tears rolled down my cheeks. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I thought to myself, will I be able to survive in this unknown world? The question remains unanswered. Chapter 4. I have been asleep for a long while until someone, or something, woke me up. "Rosie," the voice said. How the hearts doesn't know my name? I was confused. Hello, who is there?" I asked. I'm God, the voice said. I was looking around where the voice came from. I couldn't find where the voice was. You may not see me or feel me, but I am with you always. I know your pain. I've seen your broken heart. I know everything that happened to you. I need you to know that I love you so much, no matter what people say about you. You're beautiful, and you're more than enough. I was still reluctant to what God had said. I don't know about that statement, I replied. Rosie, my beloved child, don't listen to the world. The world will only distort your identity. Listen to me, for I know everything about you. I made you my image, and I've always been with you since you took your first breath. I love you so much, my child. I started soaking in and believed what God had said. I thought that nobody would love me, but now I just found somebody that really cares for me. Rosie, my child, you have talents. Use them to show my love to them because everyone needs it. Do these things and you'll be blessed, God said. Okay, I'll do what you ask of me, God, I said, because I love you above all else. Suddenly, a ball of light started to circle me, and it went faster and faster that the rope tied my hands to the chair broke off, and I was free. I looked around and realized that I was in a different dimension. It was bright, colorful, and sparkly. I looked at myself and I saw that my colors were coming back. I even got a second hair color, teal. I now have purple and teal hair. I just became a new person and received a new life. This was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Chapter 5. The next day at school, I was walking in the hallway. I was happy because I made friends with the school counselors. They helped me whenever I was sad and lonely. I'm glad I have new friends like that. When the kids were looking at me, they looked at me in a way not like before. They gave me astonished expressions. Even Jada and Kara were surprised. Rosie, is that you? Jada asked. Looks like you've changed, Kara said. Yes, now that I have friends that say positive things about me, but I know someone else who loves me the most. I pointed to the ceiling, referring to God. Hey, we're sorry making fun of you. Could you forgive us? Kara asked. It took me a while to think about this, but I thought of what God had said about showing his love to others. Apology accepted, I responded. I held my hand out and gave handshakes to both Jada and Kara. This might be the start of a new friendship. All it takes is showing love to other people, and it can make a difference. And listening to the positivity makes a difference also. And those things will be kept in my heart for the rest of my life. The end.